Hello class, this is Professor Morrison and this is your presentation regarding formal versus informal language. What are some of the characteristics of formal language? Well, it's a little bit more serious than having a conversation with someone you know well. It's more objective. We use very specific vocabulary. We don't use contractions. Our sentences become more complex. We don't use slang. And we definitely stay inside third person point of view, he, she, it, and they. When do we use formal language? Class essays, job interviews, professor emails, business letters. Just like you would not email me and say, hey, I am going to be late on work. You would definitely say, hello, Professor Morrison. I, with a capital, am going to be late with my work because of this reason. And then I would respond, well, thank you, student, for your lovely email. And certainly I will be more than happy to work flexibly with you on that assignment. That way you are presenting yourself more formally and you'll receive a more formal response, not just from professors, but from business situations, job interviews, things like that. And we're going to practice this because we're going to use this in our essays. Only the narrative will allow you to have I, me, or we in there. From now on, all of the other essays after narrative will be in third person, he, she, it, they. We don't use you anyway. That's much too informal. But we're not going to discuss ourselves in any essay but the narrative. We're going to be a little bit more formal. So here are some more characteristics of informal language that we want to avoid in academic or business situations. Using slang, trying to be funny or casual, or worse, sarcastic. That does not come across well in writing. We are not going to be simple or overly plain spoken, and we would definitely not use any exclamation points in our essays. This would be saved for informal situations like text messages or journal writing or a friendly letter or writing a note like to yourself. So when we're speaking to a principal or someone in authority, we would say something like, good morning. But if we're talking to our best friend, we might say howdy or hey or hi. But we wouldn't do that in a business or academic situation. When we're speaking to an adult, we might say, well, hello, I am confused. Could you please help me with this essay? But when you're speaking to a friend, you could just say, oh my goodness, I don't get it. But we don't use the same language for both situations. If you're on campus and you don't know where something is, you might ask a teacher or someone who works on campus, please show me where the cafeteria is or where the bookstore is. But if you're asking a classmate, you could just say, well, show me where it is, or I'll follow you. When you're speaking to an adult, maybe in a medical situation, you might say, well, will the nurse assist the doctor with this procedure? If you're asking a friend about it, you could just say, well, who helps the doctor? See how the tone changes and the language and how those are closely related. Well, so how do we know when to use formal or informal language? Think about different aspects of the situation. What is the event? What is the size of the audience? Who is the audience? What is the relationship of the speaker to the audience? And what is the task you have been assigned? All of these will be critical in the decisions you make about the formality of your language and tone. So let's compare some words we might use in formal language versus informal language. Formally, we might say that our flight is about to depart. Informally, we might say we're about to go on the plane. Maybe we're going to retain these papers for future reference in formal language. But if you're talking to a friend, you might just say, well, I'm going to keep these in case I need them later. You might ask someone to cease in formal language or to stop in informal language. We might be demonstrating how to perform an ability in formal language or showing someone in informal language. Assisting is more formal than helping, and creating is more formal than making. We need to think about our word choices carefully when we're writing in academic and business situations. In addition, we have some greetings and phrases for formal and informal language. Formally, you might say, hello, how are you doing? If you know someone very well, you might say, hi, how was your evening? Or something specific you might know about. Formally, you could say goodbye. Informally, see you later. Formal language, how are you? Informal language, what's up? Sincerely is more formal than from. Dear is more formal than to. And good morning is so much more formal than hey. You should never say hey to a professor. There's a lot more formal and informal words and phrases that you can look up. You can always go to onelook.com to look up meanings of words and phrases and see how they rate on the formality spectrum. You can always ask me if you have any questions. I'm only an email away. Thank you.